Doodles 2 are coming, and this could be absolutely massive.
What are Genesis boxes? What is the Dooplicator? And how is Pharrel involved? We'll answer all of those questions and more in this episode of Goats and the Metaverse. And if you're looking for some alpha, this could be the show. So stay tuned. There's so much to talk about. We're not going into the Goat Vault. We're not talking about the ETH price. We're going straight into the world of Doodles. Stanley, for people who don't know what Doodles are, maybe you could give them a recap.
Doodles are a project that has hit the scene. Is it last fall or is it last August? I believe it's last fall. And they have been absolutely taking the world by storm. The community has been exceptional. It's been created by Evan Keith, Scott Martin, and Jordan Castro. These guys have been in the Web3 space since the very beginning. Crypto Kitties and Dapper Labs natives. The artist has been around for a really long time. The art is super cool. Everybody knows about it. Everybody loves them. Most importantly, the community got right behind them, and they went nuts. I remember when this thing was sitting on 1 Ethereum, and I was telling people, this could be the buy for you. Not financial advice. Do your own research. And I think it went up to like 10 ETH really, really, really quickly. High points have been over 20 Ethereum. And, community strong. I would probably say second or third strongest community, maybe fourth strongest community after Bored Ape. But I think they're fighting for that second spot. And I believe a couple of months ago, they came out and they said, fuck announcements. What we're working on is going to be huge. And they got some backlash for it. A lot of people said, these guys are a little too cocky right now. Like, what are these guys working on? It took some time. It is a down market. But what they are working on or what they're talking about or what they're doing is pretty big. It is pretty interesting. And we're going to unwrap it here. And we're going to start with the Genesis box. Jossie, what is the Genesis box?
Well, in order to understand what the Genesis box is, you've got to understand what Doodles 2 is. So Doodles were your 10K PFPs, to be honest, when they came out, despite the team being really cool and interesting. I wasn't mad about the art and learned that lesson very quickly that, art is subjective in the market. You got to trust. And what Doodles 2 is their new attempt at a mass market NFT production. So where Doodles has 10,000, Doodles 2 has a much bigger supply. Controversial to go with a much bigger supply because we've seen what happens when you do that with things like NBA Top Shot and the supply gets too big. What happens to floor prices. But what they're saying is, well, we don't really care necessarily only about floor prices. We want to build a community. We're taking on Disney. We're building a brand here that can reach the world, and you have to do that with a mass market appeal. So Doodles 2 is that attempt. It's an identity-focused NFT that lets its collectors express themselves with wearables, animated characters, fully licensed music, and more. You can mix and match your wearables on top of your Doodles 2 to suit your vibe. They call it a dynamic NFT where you can change your look as often as you like, full body or PFP, animated with original music, the perfect shareable NFT built to represent you. Very cool. What they're trying to say is basically you have a fully composable PFP. As opposed to being this randomly generated PFP that you now have to choose, you can compose it exactly how you like. It's not the first time we've seen composable NFTs coming onto the market before, but Doodles are doing it in a new way. They've also brought on some heavy hitters to support them. Pharrel was a big announcement at NFT NYC, joining the board and working on head of brand for Doodles. So big name, chief brand officer coming on board, big name coming there, showing the type of reach that they could do. And they did their announcement video for Doodles 2 and the Genesis boxes with Pharrel music in that music video. So that's pretty cool. What is the Genesis box? Well, the Genesis box are the first edition wearables in Doodle 2. You are buying a box that will give you a random accessory, which could be a hat, clothing, any kind of interchangeable accessory with your Doodles 2 character, and they are tradable. So I imagine there'll be different rarities between them. There's 24,000 of them. 4,000 have been reserved for in real life events, so that's the only way you can get them. 20,000 are being sold as we speak. There's a few hours left in the auction, and it uses some new auction mechanism that I'd never heard of before called a bucket auction. Before we go into the bucket auction, Stanley, tell us your thoughts.
Thoughts. Smart move by hiring Pharrel. I think he's a big brand name. He's a creative. And right off the bat, just using his song, his voice in the video launching Doodles 2. Very on brand, very cool. And I think the Doodles match Pharrell's style, right? He's kind of different. The song "Happy," Doodles are happy. I think there's something. It's a really good on brand move. And I think the other interesting part is this Genesis box being released before Doodles 2 are, right? So that is something different as well. We're saying you don't really even know what Doodles 2 are, right? Like you don't really even know what they look like or anything like that. And now you're getting these wearables that your character could be wearing. So to me, that is a very interesting, maybe even a little bit of controversial of a move, but it's smart, right? Because now people are going to go and say, oh my God, I got this one, or I got this one, or whatever the case may be. And you're having conversations nonstop about Doodles. You're having the market trade these things. And then they hit you with the Dooplicator, which the Dooplicator, if you own a Doodle, you got a Dooplicator and you could duplicate your trades for your Doodle 2. I thought that was another smart move, very Serum Mutant Ape-esque. They're taking out playbooks from Clone X. They're taking out playbooks from Bored Ape, but they're putting their own spin on it and they're doing it in a way which is authentic to their brand. It is a little bit confusing. There is a lot of moving parts, but you know what? I think the space is okay with that, right? I think the space likes intricacy, and I think the space is interested in creative new ways to kind of bring things to market. Honestly, when they came out with that announcement saying that we're going to change the game, our announcement's better than yours, I was one of those people that was like, they're a little bit cocky. And nothing happened, right? Like that announcement was months ago and like nothing really happened. And they dropped a Dooplicator and nobody really even knew what that means. And now it's kind of coming all together. And this is a good, indication of like patience is virtue. You need to be patient in this game, and good things come to those who are patient.
Good things come to those who are patient and who have a lot of ETH. So if you think about how does the auction work today, they're using a system called a bucket auction. And what that basically means is that you put in your bid, how much ETH you are willing to part with, and you'll get an answer back on, how much you'll actually be able to get. There is a current price, which is called the strike price at 0.255 ETH is where it's sitting at right now. But based on the amount of ETH that is put in the bucket by people bidding how much they're willing to go, that strike price may go up. A way to think about that is if you had 2,000 people putting in 100 ETH each, then you have 20,000 ETH. There are 20,000 Doodles Genesis boxes that are coming up, then each Genesis box would go for 1 ETH. If there was 2,000 people who put in 200 ETH and you had 40,000 ETH, well, then each Genesis box is going to go for 2 ETH. So you don't know what the strike price is going to be, but you're basically saying, take all my money. I'm willing to put this in. Give me as many Genesis boxes as I can get back. We're seeing Pranksy, who is top of the leaderboard. They've gamified that to see who's the biggest spender, the biggest whale, with 190 ETH bid. And currently in the running to get 696 of those 20,000 boxes that Pranksy may get. So he is going large into this, has lots of conviction. What you're knowing at right now, ETH price is low, $1,000. Doodles seeming to be able to bring in the big wigs. Held strong in the floor price decrease, still holding in about a 12 to 13 ETH price. The Doodles 2 with a much bigger supply, still a big question on that. I don't know how that plays out. But this could be a good opportunity to get into the Doodles ecosystem with a small bid. You maybe get a Genesis box or two and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely opportunities to make a few dollars, right? I think they're there, especially as more announcements are coming. And given in this market, you kind of want that alpha. Listen, like I said, one thing that I think is going to be the new norm for most of these brands, this chief creative brand officer position. I think this is going to be like the way for big time celebrities, influencers, people with a good brand reputation to get exposure to the Web3 space that is authentic. And it's smart, right? Instead of like a celebrity coming out and saying, I'm launching my own metaverse, which Kevin Hart is doing. We could talk about that in a later show, if that's a good idea or a bad idea. Nobody, he has zero exposure to Web3, and all of a sudden he's coming out with a new metaverse. Is Web3 going to come out and say, we support this or not? But somebody who's saying, I'm joining a team that's already established, we know Snoop's done that before, right? Like, those are things that are interesting. Those are things that are authentic to the space. It doesn't feel like Pharrell is looking for a cash grab here. It seems like he really believes in the brand and he wants to be a part of it and he wants to build with these guys. And I'm curious to see who some future chief brand officers are going to be for other brands. Good. It's a win-win for both parties, in my opinion. And I'm rooting for Doodles now. I'm rooting for you guys. I don't know. For a minute there, I was like, yeah, I don't get it. But the branding school, the thought process behind it, the creativity, all of that is there, and they're executing.
Got to give props where props are due. And if we were in a bull market, I think we would have seen the prices of Doodles doubling in the announcement that came out. The same news would have been traded all the way up to a 20 to 25 E4 price. So you can get it while it's hot, while no one's paying attention. That's all we have for you today, folks. Remember, we're here to have some fun, teach about everything going on in the NFT world. Click the subscribe button so we can share this with more people, and share your comments about what you think about Doodles, the Dooplicator, the Genesis box, and whether you are going to be buying into the auction. And we'll see you mañana.
Hasta mañana, everybody.